When we're covering the farm show here at PCN, what we have at our disposal is really our entire staff. Now, PCN makes a footprint on cable TVs from one end of the state to the other. So sometimes it might be hard to remember that PCN is a relatively small company. It's less than 50 people, and yet we're able to put down this disproportionately large footprint throughout the state. So we really have most of that number available to help cover the farm show. So maybe we take, of those 50 people, maybe it's at least half, maybe 25 or 30, but very importantly, we add on to that freelance workers. So we do rely heavily on freelancers at camera positions. So at that point, they're wearing a headset and they're taking direction from PCN people. Now, there are some PCN people that go out in the field by themselves, a small crew, maybe 2 people. And then we'll approach a person who is judging sheep, for example, and we'll say, well, would you mind putting this microphone on for us? And normally the information you might keep to yourself. This time, when you think of something about the sheep that you think our viewers ought to know, let that thought drop down out of your brain and right onto your tongue and say it out loud. This way, we emphasize the educational aspect of our coverage at the farm show. So you can really learn, for example, what the judges are looking for with judging the sheep and all kinds of events through the farm show. Sometimes people ask us, why does PCN even cover the farm show? Given our usual mission, or I should say our primary mission, which is that of covering public affairs, we thought we ought to try the farm show. And after all, conveniently, it is in our backyard. Our main offices are in Camp Hill, which is just across the river from Harrisburg. So way back in 1994, again, it's hard for me to believe that our coverage dates back that long, but it does. In 1994, I went there myself with a single camera and a tripod. Mission, get something from the farm show. We weren't sure what it was going to be. That's just the way it has to be. You have to take a trial and error approach to our coverage. So I took this camera and tripod, and importantly a wireless microphone, because I'm trying to find an event and trying to get someone to talk about it. That's the main focus. That was the year we really tested the water. We put our toe in the water, knew there was something that we should explore and expand, so we went back in 1995, and the coverage has gotten so much more sophisticated ever since. When PCN covers the farm show, we need a control room. We need a nerve center for the coverage. And the farm show is kind enough to provide us with a large room. In fact, it's one of the skyboxes that overlooks the small arena, so probably some of you have looked up and wondered what all that activity was going on up there. And if you had an opportunity to look closely through the glass from the small arena, you can see that there are lots of TV monitors, and we have our crew in there. So there's a director. All the pictures, all the video feeds from all over the farm show go into that control room, and then the director has to select which camera is appropriate and put it on the air. He has an audio person there sitting right next to him. There's also what we call a technical director. So usually the director will call the shot, but the technical director will press the button to actually put that camera on the air. We also have a person there on replay. Some events really benefit from replay. For example, one is the horse pull.